Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rob Has a Podcast. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and tonight we are recapping the Sunday night episode of Big Brother 24 on August 28th. With me tonight to talk through this HOH and nomination episode, I have a wonderful panel of panelists. First of which is Chappell. How you doing, Chappell?
Taran, this is all Joseph's fault. The fact that I'm here is Joseph's fault.
It's true.
I'm doing fine, but that's Joseph's fault. I hope you're doing okay, and that's Joseph's fault too. I'm happy everybody's listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode, but that was Joseph's fault as well. Thank you for having me.
It is unfortunately Joseph's fault that we are all here tonight, but it's also Joseph's fault that Lovina is joining us. Lovina, how are you?
I mean, on that note, I guess I'm not that great. I mean, I've been pretty vocal about how last episode and just last week in general, like, took something out of me. I'm not really known for getting emotional over a reality TV show, but for obvious reasons, I got a little emotional last week. So, I mean, and it's still roller coastering this week now. So I'm mesmerized. Excited to talk about it though.
Yes, as Daniel once proclaimed, what a boring season we're gonna have, and what a boring season we are in fact having here.
This season just got boring.
So there we are.
Boring season where?
Oh, I guess it's right here. With us to talk about this boring season, we also have Aman. How you doing, Aman?
He was so bitter. Oh my God. Every time I think about it, I crack up. Yeah, I'm excited to be back and talking some Big Brother. Woo! Yeah, Big Brother 24 it's been something. And yeah, excited to break it down with you guys tonight.
All right. Well, as I said, we are here to talk through tonight's episode of Big Brother 24. We will also be talking spoilers from the feeds after we finish discussing the episode. So make sure you stay tuned for that discussion. But first, let's talk about what we just saw. I think that if Big Brother episodes were named like TV episodes, this would be like Big Brother 24 Blame Joseph edition. It really was just how do we blame Joseph for everything? We started the episode with the reunification of the house. And this is when we finally see them react to Joseph not being there. This time, actually saw their faces, saw them react. And Taylor was very upset here, Chappell, that Joseph was gone.
Taran, I recently started watching Big Brother Canada a couple years ago, and I just want to say that although I started off in these BBUS streets, Big Brother Canada would have done this so much better. Oh my God. Like the cinematography, that garage door going up slowly, the music would have come in. Like, I was just like, this is giving me nothing. I have the bare minimum. Even when Taylor starts crying, I'm just like, y'all are supposed to hammer this stuff home. It was hard to watch, because we know how much Taylor bonded with Joseph. I was just like, man, show, give us something. I mean, this is some dramatic stuff. The house is split in half. They're finally getting this big reveal. They've been betrayed. Give us some music or something. It just wasn't giving me what I wanted from the moment. But I'm happy Taylor was able to kind of keep it together. She did. I mean, she basically did break down. I mean, going to the restroom to cry, having a moment, but she got herself back together and she had to get her game face back on, Taran.
Yeah, it was big transition music energy when the thing opened. Just like,
yeah,
not quite dramatic enough, I think. Here,
you guys, don't get me started on the editing of this show. The word that I use to describe it is cartoony. But even when they can make this like as Chappell said, as dramatic as possible, they still miss. But surely we need the 3-minute long intro from the BB announcer in his cartoony voice saying, "We lost Joseph and his amazing abs." It's like, why are we like, who wrote the script? There's so many things I want to know. It just makes me so confused. It's like, this is a social experiment. The show started as a social experiment. It's supposed to be dramatic. We're going to get into it later on. There's a lot of things that heavy topics that are discussed in the house, but of course we have Joseph's abs. That's all we could take away from last week, I guess. It just pisses me off. Okay, the editing
Well,
pisses
hey,
me off.
let's be kind to the announcer voice.
He's annoying, Taran.
Oh.
I said it.
Not this going
Chill,
for the jugular.
bro.
I
I said
mean,
it.
no, but I agree though. It's like it was clunky. It was clunky editing. The payoff wasn't there. I mean, everything that we wanted to see, I mean, we saw. It just was stitched together poorly. And you would think that I feel like those announcer things are getting a little longer now because they don't have the little intro packages where they're doing the little poses, which I kind of miss, by the way. So yeah, I am glad that we at least got to see the reactions for the most part in real time, because there was a world in which maybe we don't see anything at all and they completely fumble this ball and we don't see anything until after the feeds come back, until after the HOH comp. But they at least gave us that. So I'll take the W's when I can.
Yeah, the recaps have been very long. It does feel like they cut out the intro, and I was like, I'm fine missing the intro. Like, I don't need the intro.
No, the
we
intro
we need it.
And like, I get
We
it.
need it.
Like, I'm okay with the intro, but if it means that we get an extra like 30 seconds in the episode, like, I'm fine with that. The problem is, I think we didn't get 30 more seconds in the episode. I think we got 30 more seconds in the recap. So at that point, I'm like, no, give me back the intro. But here we are. Here we are. The house is reunited. And it's time to tell everyone what happened on their respective sides of the house, because she's still there. And I think we all knew who she is. And in order to explain why she's still there, they're all going to blame Joseph. It's Alyssa's going to blame Joseph, basically. Why am I here? Because of Joseph. Turner's going to blame Joseph. Terrence is going to blame Joseph. Kyle is going to blame Joseph. Literally, this entire segment was just them blaming Joseph one after another.
Yeah, it was giving major thanks Obama energy, and I just not here for it.
Yes.
I really felt like, I mean, we talked about it last week. I was like, I don't think that this is going to work. And to have all of these people have like this united front, like the person that is on the block next to Joseph, or the intended target for the leftovers, should also not be singing the chorus of, oh, it's Joseph. Joseph is the reason why he went home. It's all Joseph. It should be more of a, oh my God, I'm just so glad that I survived against Joseph because he's such a big competitor. You know what I mean? Like, but there was none of that. It was more just like Joseph. Like, what is this? Just so, it's so canned, so pre-planned. Michael saw right through it. It's so stupid.
Well, also, my question is like, why did they not think that, okay, so the people that they're trying to convince is Taylor, Monty, Brittany, and Michael. You're trying to convince these people who have spent how long with Joseph, who have spent how many nights staying up with Joseph. They're trying to explain that he, had a meltdown towards the last 3 days being in the backyard. Like, he's the person that they're trying to convince had a meltdown. Like, these people know him well enough by now. It's just crazy to me.
It's fun to think that you would all come in with the same exact story when somebody should be a little upset that they ended up on the block, right? You ended up on the block next to your ally, or for whatever reason, you could have been the target. Like, if you end up on the block, Hans go home. So even if it was Joseph's fault, at this point, shouldn't you be pivoting, knowing that you can now not trust Terrence? He put you on the block. You have another enemy. But they came in the house like, nope, now that Joseph's gone, everything's cool. It's all great here. What are you talking about? It's just like, that doesn't feel like, it feels like a part of the story that they just left out and that they didn't prepare for, because I would be upset. I mean, 3 people were on the block in that 1 week, and all of them are like, yeah, but Joseph, it's like, how is that the outcome of all of this?
Yeah, Joseph on the block all week. Yeah, why did he do that? Why did Joseph? He really just he sat on the block, and it was like, whoa, dude. Now,
And then he got evicted. It was like, oh my. Like,
I
what
know.
the hell?
Like, why? Like, Joseph, it wasn't supposed to be you. It's supposed to be Alyssa. Why would you get evicted like that? Why would you do that?
So stupid.
I can't believe Joseph would do this. It's like that meme format where it's like they shoot the same or whatever it is, and like, how could Joseph do this? That's what I see in my brain.
Yeah. Well, Michael doesn't buy it. Michael's like, I don't buy this for a second. And I think it's Kyle that tells us, look, it's the after party versus the leftovers in this HOH. It's all going to come down to this. Which side is going to take control of the game? It's 3v3.
This is weird. This is weird because you would think that, and we know who's aligned with who, and then we get Turner identifying that he is aligned with everybody. He is with the leftovers for all they know. He's with the outsiders or whatever they were called, the after party for all they know. And he's just like, maybe I should win this HOH. Maybe I should definitely show people that I'm not working with them so that I can be a target next week. I was just like, what are you doing? And what's happening here? Because even when he starts to plan that move to go win the HOH, he's looking around at his allies. He's like, is Terrence, Alyssa, and Kyle going to be the best group that I can go into battle with moving forward? Let's just find out. And I just think that this was a really weird spot for Turner to decide to choose loyalties when I don't think he had to at this point.
He didn't. He really had like you said, you're with everybody. So then just be with everybody. I mean, sure, there is like a little bit of apprehension because you sent Joseph home. You're part of the reason that Joseph went home. And so who knows what Michael would do if he won HOH, or I guess Michael can't play at that point. But who knows what would happen if you win HOH and the leftovers decide, oh, well, Joseph went home, so one of y'all's got to go because y'all did this. So, I mean, I know that there is a little bit of apprehension there, but especially when we find out that Kyle is so close to winning the situation. I'm like, did you really need to take this?
Yeah, I was actually on the side of I think Turner should win this HOH. I mean, it's not ideal, but if the other side is coming for Kyle and then him, then he might as well win and take a shot on the other side first. And this is not the worst group in the world to get to or near the end with. However, especially seeing the competition, one of the reasons why Turner said that he wanted to win is because Monty was so close. And I think that part of what happened here is that this fear that Monty is not going to be loyal to them or the Pound infected Turner a bit here, because I think that if Monty had won this HOH, I think it's Alyssa and Terrence on the block. I think he absolutely just straight up targets them. I think Monty in particular, Brittany and Taylor, I don't know. They might go a different direction. They might really try and get to the bottom of things. But with Monty in charge, even if Terrence does rat out, like, oh, it was Kyle that outed the leftovers, I think Monty's like, shh, I don't care. Like, it's
He's loyal.
You need to leave. So yeah, letting Monty win this one, I think, at least in retrospect for me, I think was definitely the right call. But not going to be how this plays out here, as they play the tiny HOH.
Yeah,
you mean the Davon
funny.
Rogers competition?
Yes.
Did I take it out of your mouth? Oh, you were gonna say it?
I was about to say that. But I was also going to say, it's so funny to me watching people make that same mistake in accidentally blowing their cans down. I'm just trying to like calm themselves down. I'm like, I know that would be me. I'd be up there like on the last little can and be like, whoo, and then be so pissed about it. Oh, man. Nerve-wracking.
I prefer this as the tiny veto. Personally, I feel like the tiny key just doesn't do it for me in the same way that the tiny veto does. Every time I see the tiny veto, I go, oh, the tiny veto. When I see the tiny key, I'm just like, that's not going to work.
If they were going to make it a tiny HOH competition, then they should have made everything tiny. They should have made the key tiny. They should have made the HOH room tiny.
Yes, that's what I said.
They should have made like his little pictures from home tiny as shit. They should have made like his little snacks tiny. Everything, the mini fridge needs to be even more mini. Like everything just needs to be tiny.
They should have gotten little miniatures of everyone in the house.
Yep.
That'd be so cute.
The little key box needs to be tiny. The memory wall needs to be tiny.
Right.
Everything needs to be tiny.
On the little nomination screen, it should have been like a really tiny little face.
They could do so much with it.
Yeah. Could you imagine winning this competition and being like, give me that key, bitch? Because you got to say it like really tiny.
And they just flick it.
Yeah. I threw it on the floor like a dog and like now I'm looking for it. You're like down on the ground with your glasses on trying to find the HOH key.
Yeah. So, somebody in the chat pointed out too, it is like everything is tiny in this competition, at least. Like a tiny little house, tiny little cans, tiny little key hanging on the wall. And then they give them these massive like tweezers. Like these are like the biggest set of like tweezers I've ever seen in my life.
I
feel like that's the point. I feel like they want to throw them off. They want to get like because I personally thought that competition went on a little too long, but I feel like that's every competition that they show. So nothing too crazy, but I feel like we just saw the same footage of like, I was so close. And then they just knock it over. So I think they just wanted the most B-roll they could possibly get, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Taran was talking about, cutting out some of the intro or whatever, and you would give like 30 seconds more of the TV show, but we know it would go right to this competition.
Exactly.
We would see every second of Kyle nutting up at the last second and just not being able to finish, just like completely knocking over his stack way before it's time to finish the competition. 10 seconds in even, like we would see that happen so much more in the show if they gave us extra time. So I'm not shocked that they gave us what they did, because it's always going to be the same. It's always going to be just like this little movement and then somebody breathes and then they fall over.
Yeah. I mean, I still think this is a good comp overall. I like it. I think it's a good one. I think I prefer it as Tiny Veto. But other than that, I think it's fine. And yeah, Kyle comes very close to winning multiple times. And what a wild ride we would have had with Kyle as the HOH. But Monty also going to come close, but it's going to be Turner that pulls out the win. And I can't say that I expected Kyle and Monty to do this well in this competition. We've only seen it twice now before this, and I didn't think that the guys with bigger hands would fare as well. But maybe because they had the bigger pliers, maybe that helped.
Who won last season?
What they say about big hands?
Alyssa won last season, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people had Taylor. A lot of people had Taylor like as a shoo-in for this one. I thought I was one of those people.
Yeah, I thought she'd have she was my favorite. I had, I think, her, Brittany, and Turner as my top three. Because Turner was crafty. He works on rugs.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, Brittany was shaking up a storm. I was like, "Oh, girl, calm down."
That would be me.
It's just HOH.
Unfortunately.
Man, I gotta say, I was trying to look. I feel like Monty had the steadiest hand, but he was holding the tweezers out from like super far back, whereas Turner was like using them right at the edge and like just leaving the huge bit over there. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but the way that the camera angle is framed with their faces there and then like the little armhole to the side, you'd like be watching Kyle like do the thing, and then you'd see just like a weird hand come out of nowhere to support his elbow. And it's like, what? Is he an octopus? What's happening right now?
Yeah, that setup is super weird, especially when we see like Turner wins, obviously, and they pull back and you're like, oh, where the hell are they? First of all, it just looks so weird because your eye is used to the small miniature
You want to know where they were, Lovina? You want to know where they were? I'll tell you where they were.
Tell me.
They were where they should have had the Dyer Fest in the first goddamn place. That's exactly where they were.
Where? I don't.
But no, they were too busy setting it up for this tiny ass veto. Or HOH.
Is that just like a random studio, like adjacent to the lot?
It just sounds right as a veto. Yeah, it's like where they did the hacker comp and The like
the VIP lounge.
The
yeah,
blindfold,
all
where
that
they
stuff.
blindfold them and walk them out. Right?
Yeah.
That's a good point, because when they come back in the house, of course, they're telling all the horror stories of this 1 week where they had to sleep outside, and all the Survivor alumni are like, really? This is who you lay with? Like, they are so upset that these people are complaining, like, it was hot outside. And don't get me wrong, it was miserable. Like, those people, they went through it for a week. But you can avoid that.
When she said she woke up with like ants crawling on her face, I said, "Oh no!
Oh,
no.
Time out. No, self-eviction for me at least.
Lavina's like, I'm going. Thank you.
No, a lot of things.
rather-
There's a lot of things I would self-evict for.
I'd rather be held in the basement with just a black phone to keep me company.
I mean, I've always said that like I would love to play Survivor, but I would expect rats and roaches and all sorts of stuff to be crawling all over me. But in the Big Brother house, no.
I don't know why not. Every season of Big Brother I've seen, the ants eventually move back in. They're like, yeah, y'all have been here for about 30 days. Let me be very clear. This is our home. They do not exterminate this place. We just come, we let y'all move in, and then we come and take over slowly. So if you weren't going to get them outside, eventually the ants were going to make it inside and take over.
Well, Turner is our new HOH, and he is quickly going to find that he's in a little bit of a tricky situation because he's aligned with everybody, and he's going to immediately promise everybody safety, which is the same thing Taylor did when she won HOH, and Turner was like, what is she doing? He's making the same mistake. He goes around literally promising everybody safety in the game. He even goes up to Taylor. He's like, she's like, is the leftover still good? He's like, yeah.
I'm sorry.
And then he gets attacked by the sauce. Like
he deserved that.
This is Game of Thrones, and he's sitting on the Iron Throne, and it's just somebody's trying to tell him like, hey, you don't belong here. You're getting cut by the sauce.
For me, he deserved that, because if anybody went like this and said, of course, I'd be like, dude, it's done. It's the opposite of what you just said. Like, no, that, I don't know. I mean, maybe she did. I mean, clearly the DRs say, she didn't really necessarily trust him, but no, it'd be done for me.
It was the ghost of the blindside Butterbeans that came back to attack Turner. Let's not talk about the fact that we just like, oh yeah, Jasmine's out of the house, boom, blindside Butterbeans, and she just fades away. And in the next 20 minutes, we're like, but Joseph, So I think this was Jasmine trying to get her last little 6 seconds of fame.
This is there's little pieces of muffin in that sauce, actually. So he promises everyone safety. This is not great. He's gonna go to Kyle and be like, so I feel like leftovers, right? We should probably put up Alyssa and Terrence. And Kyle goes,
No. Chill, bro. Huh?
See, it's like I mean, Turner obviously did what he needed, what he felt like he needed to do out there. You're like in survival mode. Okay, Joseph is the one on the block. As long as it's not me, send him out of here. It is what it is. But then he comes back in and he says as much in the DR, like, oh, I come back in and then I'm sitting here playing chess with Monty, and then I realize I don't really dislike anybody, and I'm aligned with everybody. So do I need this after party? Like, maybe somebody like Kyle and Alyssa need the after party, but do I need this after party? So I completely understand him having second thoughts, because once you start, you come back together with people that you have been talking game with and that you are comfortable with, even though you will do anything in your power to convince everyone else that you're not. It does sort of like you kind of get lulled back into that sense of security of like, well, the leftovers were a really good thing, and I don't really feel like I need to step away from that. So, I mean, obviously, strategically, you are in a very unsound position once you've already promised everyone safety and you've already decided to go full force against Monty, which is what you didn't need to do. You could have just let Monty be evicted without adding so much crap to it. So he ultimately did all of this to himself.
Yeah, I feel like Turner, he was at the party, And then they were like, let's go to the after party. It's going to be so good. Let's go to the after party. He was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. We're all hyped up.
With
and then
leftovers still in his mouth.
Yeah. And then so he went there. He arrived at the bar and it was like just kind of dead in there. And he's kind of looking around and it's like, oh, it's a little dirty in here. Like, what are the kind of people in this bar? Like, oh man, I don't know if I belong. I don't know if I like this. Can we go back to the real party? Actually, this is, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. I'm kind of regretting this decision. I'm upset that I got in an Uber for 30 minutes to get here.
Right.
No, not 30 minutes. Seriously, Turner reminds me of he's like that person who's like, okay, yeah, I'm down for, like you said, I'm down to go to the after party. But then they remember that their bedtime's at 9:30 p.m. And they're like, okay, well, you know what? I have to get into bed. I have to take a shower. I have to get into bed. That's me, first of all. But yeah, that is what it reminded me of. It seemed like he regretted it immediately. And it's just funny because this is what I personally predicted was going to happen. I was like, well, there's no way that Turner is just going to be like completely balls to the wall. Like, I'm with the after party now as soon as the sides merge back together, because then he realizes, as we see in the episode and we see, unfold today on the feeds as well. Oh, wait, I really like Monty and I actually really, really trust Monty. So maybe these people that were in the backyard were just kind of in my ear a little bit. And I feel like he doesn't really want to admit that. But
they got rid of Jasmine for you, bro. They got Jasmine out of the house.
I forgot about that part.
Like,
said it. Michael said it.
We gave you this thing. Aren't you happy? Like
they rolled out the red carpet for you with no Jasmine, and some muffins to boot. Come on.
Yeah, so there's a whole palette of muffins for you.
Here's my issue. You have Turner who's saying this to Kyle, which I don't understand what Kyle has done to these people to make him think that he would ever be okay with putting Alyssa in harm's way. I understand a few weeks ago they talked and he was like, oh yeah, I want Alyssa out. But since then, he has not demonstrated any type of readiness to get rid of her. And even if he did, you shouldn't believe him. So Turner even going to Kyle and being like, okay, Kyle, what if it's your girlfriend on the block? It's like, how did you think Kyle was going to react? Y'all have been in this house for over 60 days at this point, Taran. What day number are we on now?
Day 53, I think.
Right. You're 50 some odd days in the house. And you're like, okay, the one romantic couple. You don't have nothing else to do in this house. There's no TV. There's no books. It's just you and people. And you have somebody who you were intimate with. And I'm like, okay, what if I got rid of them? Okay. Wait, hear me out. They're never going to vote you out. You good with me? You good with me getting rid of them? I'm just like, hold on. What if I use her as a pawn? She could go home. Are you okay with that? And he's like, no. Why do y'all keep floating this past Kyle? He's never going to be okay with it. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. It's so weird. I was like, you just do it. Just get rid of her. Because at the end of the day, Kyle says, okay, well, I'm loyal to the pound. Cool, bet. If we're doing the pound thing, Alyssa can go. She's not in the pound. That's it, as far as I'm concerned. But it's just like, oh, well, we're the after party. Pick a struggle. Pick one and get rid of one of them. Why do you want the pieces to come down to where all of the people are aligned with Kyle? I don't understand why Turner wants to be the third to that one, but also he's not Terrence's number one. He thought he was, and then he ended up on the block. He's not Monty's number one. I just don't understand why you won't take some pieces away from Kyle in this moment when you have the chance.
Well, as they showed us, they've got a final two.
I don't think
his girlfriend's right there.
I don't think Turner sees it that way. I think he sees it. I mean, he literally said in the DR I counted 3 different times today, I'm aligned with the whole house. Like, I feel like he thinks that he's the Kyle in this situation. Like, I think he thinks that, okay, well, whatever, Kyle will just do whatever I say. It's like, it's fine. Like, I feel like he doesn't see it in the way that you just described, Chappell, which is correct. So he's just like, oh no, but I'm also aligned with everybody. He's obsessed with that. He said it 3 times.
They are having sex on floaties. And told you about it. I don't understand. I mean, a showmance is one thing. A little cute little showmance is one thing where they're just, cuddled up and kissing and all of that. That's, that's one thing. But if this person is literally coming to you and telling you, oh yeah, well, we did the deed. In what world is that person ever going to put you first? ever, even if you guys came down to the final 3, you would need to still get rid of them. Why even make that an opportunity for yourself? I just don't. It is what it is. It is what it is. And he probably figures at this point, like, they are a target ahead of me later down the line. As we start to whittle things down, they will probably be the first to go before me. I can kind of understand that line of thinking, but at the same time, it's just like, it's such a risk. We've seen showmances one of them always gets to the end. They always do. So come on.
Anyone get a little ASMR vibe there for a second with them on like having sex on a floaty?
Because I just feel like I just need for people to understand the gravity of what it means to be having sex on a floaty. Okay? That you are bonded for life at that point.
Well, look, Tyler and Angela had their showmans, but all they were doing was like winking at each other from across the room and holding pinkies. Like it was very cutesy. So when he goes and eliminates her, we're like, that could happen. That could happen. But it's been weeks now since Kyle and whatever this girl's name is, Alyssa, started doing stuff together on floaties. So it's like, but you're letting this get too strong. Like, I don't know where you think you're gonna get in if you don't ever target her. And he cannot betray you for targeting her because you're not aligned with her. You're aligned with the pound. Now you're saying the after party, that should have just got you in the house. Now you're like, okay, listen. One of them has to go up. The leftovers are suspicious. I got to do it. It'll keep the pound covered. It'll give us an extra week, but one of them has to go up. And then Kyle, at that point, you push kind of subtly for Terrence to go. But for Kyle to just be like putting his foot down and be like, no, not Alyssa, and everybody going, okay, that frustrates me.
Yeah, it was kind of like if we go with this metaphor that Kyle has kind of enticed Turner to go hang out at the after party, and then Turner's like looking around, he's like having second thoughts. Like Kyle is then like grabbing Turner's wrist and being like, "You can't go back now. They'll never let you back in. They'll be so mad that you left to come here. You're stuck with us. You can't go back." And Turner's like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay." And so this is where Kyle is. He's in, where Turner is. He is in the after party. He's going to talk with Monty, and we're going to get some flashbacks. We got a flashback to lots of flashbacks in this episode. We're actually really appreciated. Flashback to the final 2 that Kyle and Turner created weeks ago. This is long overdue because this has been a key element of the game for a while. We're also going to get a flashback of Joseph revealing to Turner, Kyle, and Alyssa that Taylor, Michael, and Brittany have a final 3. This is being told to Monty, who particularly now feels like, oh, so F me then. I guess I was the replacement for Joseph in this 4. I would have been 5th if Joseph had stayed.
Oh, boo-hoo, you're in the pound.
It's the same thing. The hypocrisy is insane. It's like you have nothing to do in that house except think with your thoughts, with your brain. How do you not realize I'm being a hypocrite? How do I see this in I mean, granted, I have all the information that I have, sure, but they have all the time in the world. Like, but I don't understand.
No, you're right. He's in the pound. I would much rather I would love it if there were house guests that would go in there, and not everybody can be self-aware. Everyone has varying degrees of self-awareness. That's what makes something like Big Brother so compelling and interesting and yada yada yada. I get all of that, but I would have just loved to have seen him. Like, ooh, so they had this little 4-person thing going. Oh, I got the pound, so we'll see what happens. Like, I would have much rather seen that DR as opposed to like, well, I never in all my years would have thought that there would have been another alliance within the alliance. That is just crazy to me. Oh boy, shut up. Like, okay.
I am so threatened by these 3 people, this minority alliance, these 3 people out of 7 to come together and really think they're going to run our alliance when there's 4 of us in the majority making all the decisions right now. But these 3 people have the nerve to talk to each other and become friends and go to the end with each other. And then they invited Joseph, of all people, my #1 ally, Joseph. How dare y'all talk to Joseph and not me? Like, Monty, give it a rest. Oh my God. Dear God, every time Monty gets, no, it's not even just Monty and Turner. It's like the moment Kyle's name comes up, they get in the confessional in the diary room and they just flop. Joseph too. Just get in the confessional, and they're just like, yeah, man, I can't believe it. I thought I was me and Kyle. It was just be me and Kyle, and I just don't know what to do. And I really put all my faith in Kyle, and I don't know what's going to happen if Kyle doesn't take me back. If Kyle doesn't have my back, what if Kyle picks Alyssa over me? It's not like we're having sex. Why would he do that? It's like, what? Stop it! Why are y'all so fascinated with this man? Just get him out. What is wrong with y'all? Like, keep him around. But at least take out his show, man. What are y'all doing? It's so ridiculous. They just took out your number one, Monty. They just did it. You just said Joseph was my number one. He's gone. Now what do you do? I guess I'll get back with them. There were 5 people outside. 3 of them you were aligned with. Why is your number one ally gone? That doesn't make sense. What's not clicking? It's so dumb.
Yes, well, for all of the blame Joseph material, this one Joseph actually did do. We get the flashback, and with this information, Monty goes, all right, well, you know what they've been doing over here on the inside is that they've been talking about targeting you and Kyle, and we flash back to Brittany talking about this. Now, this is a clarification that's kind of important, that Brittany did say, if they come back and Joseph is gone, basically. If Alyssa is still there, then we're not going to bother targeting Alyssa and Terrence, because that means that they've probably turned on us at that point. That was kind of the deal. But Monty definitely portrays it to be like, oh, they were coming for you guys. And so we get that in the flashback. We're also going to see that later they're going to talk with Kyle about this, and Monty just further rats the other side out about where they are headed. And he tells us in the diary room, the leftovers are over for me. I am all about my boys in the pound.
Monty wanting to bro down? What? Who could have saw this coming? Who could have? It's like this is that alliance that we were talking about at the very beginning, where we were like, normally we wouldn't be rooting for an all guys alliance where they go pick up the 3 stragglers and then they cut them later on. We wouldn't root for that. That's just bizarro, big brother. This is why. This is exactly why. Because now you have all the big bros who are like, let's just go win a bunch of competitions. Tiny veto? I think a bro will win it. All right, what's next? I think a bro will win it. A foot race? I think a bro will win it. Let's just do a weightlifting contest. It's just one of those things where it's like, we don't like this because this always happens, and y'all should have saw this coming. Like, Monty is just doing what Monty does, because if Monty makes it to the end with the pound, he probably wins. He'll probably get the leftover alliance votes, and he'll probably get whoever else he's sitting by, whatever initial pound or Jasmine or whatever Indy. Iteration of Terrence and the list Indy, you know what I'm saying? He'll scoop those up. It's great for Monty to go to the end with this group, but they shouldn't be letting him. So I'm very confused by all the things that are happening in this episode.
Yeah, I want someone to dig up that tweet that I remember seeing circling around at around the time the leftovers formed. That was like a picture of Kyle and a picture of Turner. That was like, who would have known that these would be our like hero kings of the season? And we never would have guessed it. Like no shame. Just I feel like it would be funny to look at that tweet now.
I did see that on my timeline last night. The flip-flopping this season's crazy, but I guess it just goes to show that the people in the house are flip-flopping. Like, it's not lost on me. These people are all insane. These people are all like ridiculous, and there's a lot of things to be said. But I feel like it's not lost on me that this season, it's not just the big majority alliance steamrolling. Okay, well, let's get this person out. They're not in the line. Okay, this next. It's like I'm willing to appreciate that these people are willing to throw each other under the bus, even though they're all a little stupid. But that's why we're here. We make fun of them for it.
Yeah. Well, we do get we hear from Kyle, and I actually felt like this was I liked this diary room. I feel like the advice here is actually pretty good, and it's sort of why Kyle has had the success that he has. Just minus the terrible reads that have brought him in some terrible directions. But he says, look, you always need to be on offense in this game. If you're not playing hard, someone else is. So make sure you are the one controlling the narrative, essentially, like going in the direction that you want to go. And he says, I'm willing to sacrifice anything or anybody in this game to get ahead, except for maybe Alyssa.
And that's the part that is frustrating. It's the part that like y'all are watching him just carry Alyssa from alliance to alliance, and then when she's not in alliance, everybody can get targeted but Alyssa. Everybody can go up on the block except Alyssa. Everybody can get the veto, but like, I gotta use the veto on Alyssa. Like it's kind of one of those things where he's doing exactly what he should be doing, and they're just watching it happen. You know, where you have the bomb squad, but then you have the detonators. It's like the people in the detonators were the ones who blew up the bomb squad. That's the point, you know. So they have the next majority alliance. Pose pack, the pound, the whatever, the leftovers, all this other stuff. Kyle is in the mix of all of these things. And so he's outplaying y'all 100%. And y'all are letting him keep the key pieces. Because a stray Terrence HOH is a win for Kyle. A stray Alyssa HOH or veto is a win for Kyle. It's like you have to figure out a way to dismantle that because he's created all the structures around him and he's just moving them as he so chooses.
Yeah, especially after a season like last year where you have a prime example of an alliance that people keep bringing up, but you have a prime example of an alliance that understood that you need to have parachutes, and when it's time for those parachutes to go, let them go so that the overall health of the main alliance will remain top tier. So it seems very obvious that she should be one that is in the line of fire. And I did appreciate at the beginning when Turner, it would have been bad for his game, but I do appreciate at the beginning of this when he's like, well, yeah, I know I just promised Alyssa that we were in this alliance, but come on, Kyle, like, but no, didn't work. So it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, that's not all Kyle has to say in the episode, because there's also a conversation that he's going to have with Alyssa in the hot tub. This is a bit of an old conversation, about 2 weeks or so old, but we're going to get it. Talking about London, you know, Paris.
Can I be honest? I did not crack a smile. Not once. This was not entertaining to me. I think that the two of them are boring. I'm going to say it. I don't think anyone cares or anyone disagrees, really. I feel like they're just forcing this. And I tweeted about this. I don't know how they're going to make the jump, but I'm not going to get into the spoilers. But I don't know how they're going to make the jump between like geometry guy, Kyle, versus what we now know. I'm very curious to see how they edit this.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know if we get many showmances that people are just like it's so opposed to what you see on the feeds to where the show is giving them the fun music. Alyssa's like like just the peppiest person in the world. Like, what if we go to London? Me and Kyle, if we're ever going to go on Amazing Race, we need to brush up on RHAP. Like, it's like, oh, Alyssa, she's so fun. She's so likable. And at the meantime, I'm just sitting at home like, what is happening? Why are we getting this segment? What are you trying to sell us? That Alyssa and Kyle is who we should be rooting for in this moment? Because I just can't do it because, you know, of the other stuff, you know? And so I just don't understand why you're including this. In any other situation, I think this is a fun segment. We've talked about this before. We've done the geography thing before with I don't know where London is, all this other stuff. We already did that. So why are you bringing that back from 2 weeks ago? I have no clue.
See, I just thought it was fun to dunk on him. I was having fun.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of missed this segment because the VMAs were also on tonight, and I think I was watching Nicki Minaj shake her ass on stage. So, what was the confusion here that they didn't know where London?
She thinks that London is the same thing as Paris. Then they were trying to figure out where is Prague. Is it in Germany? I'm pretty sure it's in Germany. Prague, Germany. That sounds right. Wait, is Prague a city or a country? Wait, no. What about Greece? Is Greece a city or a country?
Okay. They don't know, but they want to go there. That's all we know. Is that.
And then Kyle said, yeah, geometry is not my best subject.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so they're really
he cannot be serious.
Okay.
He cannot be serious. Like, for me, I don't know if it's because of all the information that we know about them that I'm just like, I don't even want to look at this. It's not going to make me laugh. But you can't do a segment like this unless you're someone like Rennie and you're talking about time zones. Like, that's peak comedy. Like, you have to be like, you pulled that up so quick. Oh my God. I'm like, damn, I'm impressed by that. Yeah, like I feel like you need to be naturally comedic. Again, there's nothing comedic about these people. I find them really boring. So I don't understand why this was included. again.
I thought it was funny.
Well, I'm buying tickets to London, Paris. I don't know about y'all.
We're negative.
I'm trying to go.
So we're gonna get to the nomination ceremony, and it's this is a blindside. Taylor and Brittany have been nominated for eviction. You can see the different reactions too. Brittany looks terrified, like, oh boy. And Taylor is, I think, at first kind of like, excuse me. And then when Turner gives his speech, he says, well, the thing is, Joseph, when he was outside with us, told us about an alliance that was between, Taylor, Brittany, and himself. He leaves out Michael in this spot because he doesn't want to give away his game that he's targeting Michael, as if Michael doesn't know. And this, I think, is what cracks Taylor. Like, oh my God, is this true? Did Joseph sell us outside? Did he reveal? Because this was a thing that Taylor pitched to Joseph, was never actually like a thing that happened. But it was something she pitched to him, and that he did tell them outside. And now she's feeling like, oh my God, have I been had? Have I been played? Why would he reveal this information?
People have been complaining about Taylor and all her crying. Why does Taylor cry every time something doesn't go her way? Let me just paint a picture for you. Taylor, from day one in the house, really could not bond with anyone because of some imaginary threat level that she had based on some imaginary feelings about a person who was later evacuated, or evicted or removed from the house, or whatever the case may be, for their own mental health reasons. And then after that, she was then targeted by half the house because she wasn't a girl's girl and she was a horrible person, and she made Paloma leave the game, and she feels all of this throughout. And then she finally gets somebody who acts like they want to be her friend in the house, not so much an ally, but an actual friend. And then she bonds with that person. She has a fake showmance with that person. They spend a lot of time together. She spent the last week worrying about that person. She finds out that person went home. So she's going through a range of emotions that not many people in Big Brother can say they've gone through, because nobody wanted to work with her at first. For weeks, we sat at home feeling the anger for her because she couldn't even see how hateful they were being toward her. She could feel it. She could tell that people were walking out of the room when she walked in, when she sat down on the bed, and Jasmine would get up and move across the room, and people were talking about throwing soup in her face and stuff like that. And she has the one shining star, the person who probably would be America's favorite player if Taylor wasn't in the house. She has him, and she's like, I got him. I got somebody who actually cares about me as a person. She goes to Monty at some point last week and said, Monty, you're the first person I tried to play the game with. I came to you first. And Monty's like, oh, damn. I really tore you apart when that happened. Like, I went and told everybody that you made black women look bad and all kinds of crazy stuff Monty was saying. And now the one person that she had is gone, and she thinks he betrayed her, that he was never with her, that he went and ratted her out for some malicious reason just to ruin her game on the way out for no reason. Yeah, she cried. And she's going to cry again if it happens again, because she's been through so much. That's why she's winning all these awards outside of the house. Damn girl's going to win a daytime Emmy if this show lasts any longer. I'm sorry. She cried. Get over it. It happened. Sorry.
Boom.
Yeah.
I mean,
well said.
He said everything that was on my mind. I feel like almost every season we get people complaining, well, this woman in the house is crying. It's like, you don't know what it's like in that house at all. Like, put all the BS that Taylor's been through aside, just alone being in the house, you have no idea what it's like. We have no clue what it's like. We watch it, but we don't know. And to add on to everything Chappell just mentioned that Taylor has been through, you have no right, from sitting on your couch watching this every so often as she's living through it every single day, to tell her, well, she just cries when she doesn't get her way. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. That's ridiculous.
The only thing that makes this just like a little icky is the fact that Joseph did do it. So it's just like, damn.
And I still man, I wish I just want to know why he did. Cause I think the problem is that Taylor in this moment is feeling like, oh my God, he was playing me the whole time. Which I don't think is true.
Right.
but I also can't explain why he revealed this information.
Exactly. That's why it's like if I were in the house and Taylor had like come to, and I was like at Dyer Fest and came back inside, and Taylor was like asking questions like, "Well, did Joe say this?" I'd be like, "Yeah, girl, he did say all that." I mean, I wouldn't know what else to say. I don't think he meant anything by it. It's like, how does he not mean anything by it if he's doing it? I honestly just think that he was just like, I think he was button mashing, throwing Hail Marys, just trying to get something, do something that he felt was going to save him. And then I guess he tries to come back into the house and then salvage it and be like, "Oh, I just said all that because I just needed to, and I'm surviving, but I'm still with you." Like, they're not going to be able to have that conversation now, at least for like another couple of weeks, assuming that Taylor stays in the house. So it's all just, it's so messy, because while I feel for her, I'm also like, well, girl, he did do that to you. So it's like, damn. Like,
and we don't know why. You know, that's the thing. We were watching at home. I think I was on the recap episode for Wednesday saying, "What are you doing? They already have you dead to rights. You're sitting up there next to Kyle. If you think ratting out the alliance that Kyle already ratted out is going to save you, when the person voting this week is, I don't know, the person he's having pool sex floaty. You know, like what are you talking about?
Pool
sex floaty with. Yeah, hashtag pool sex floaty. But
That's
you know what I'm saying?
But stage name. Pool sex
it should be. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's the problem. It's just like he was dead to rights. He thought, okay, Kyle snitched. Let me snitch more. That's not going to get Alyssa, who he's having sex with, to flip. Whose vote do you need this week? You need Alyssa and you need Terrence. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need the tiebreaker. That's what you need. And it's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't understand. But now Taylor's in the house crying and people are mad about it. But guess what? Stay mad. It's over. She cried.
All right. Well, that's about the episode. We're going to end on Michael saying that this is clearly a shot fired at him, that they are planning to backdoor him. So he hopes he gets chosen to play in the veto. And what do you say? Light this house on fire or something. He's ready to go to war here.
That's
all right. I mean, let's take it. Let's take it to war, baby.
All right. Are we ready for some spoilers?
Yeah.
You're not going to want to miss this one because there's a lot to talk about here today. And a lot to get through. Everything until now has just been practice. It's time.
Rehearsal.
Yeah, it's time for the grown-up table. So make sure you stick around and hear what we are about to tell you. Let's get into some spoilers.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler.
Warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
spoiler
against this country has been detected and that protective action should be taken.
Don't air that.
Ooh, little late, Kyle. So let's talk about the spoilers because there's a lot to get to. I mean, just this morning I was talking about like how, wow, what a huge topic. Records are about to be broken in this house because we just ended the episode on, well, Michael's got to get chosen to play in that veto. He's got to win that veto or Michael is a goner. And guess what happened? Michael was chosen to play in the veto and Michael won the veto. He has now tied the all-time single season record for veto wins, and we're only at the final 8. I believe this is the fastest it has ever been done. There are still 4 more veto competitions remaining in the season, so theoretically, he could end the season with 9 total veto wins, which is the amount of combined single season wins that Janelle has with both HOHs and vetoes. And this is what I thought like one of the bigger topics of the week would be. Wow, look at Michael. He's maybe going to become one of the best competitors in the show's history. He might be about to break some records. But Michael didn't want to stop there because now that he has the veto, he intends to use it on Brittany, and the person he wants to go up on the block to replace Brittany is not Monty. It's not Alyssa. It's not Terrence. He wants to get Kyle up there. And the way he wants to do it is by pressing the nuclear option, mutually assured destruction. It's time to rat everything out. It's time to reveal everything about Kyle's game, including the fact that Kyle talked about a potential Cookout 2.0. Everything that we have been talking about over the last month or so at this point, ever since Kyle came up with the idea and restructured the game based on that idea. It's now out in the open because just this morning, Michael and Brittany went to Taylor and Monty and told them everything, or so we can assume, because the feeds were down for it. And that's a whole other story. But the feeds were on for when they told Turner about it and when they told Alyssa about it. So we get a sense of what they were saying to Taylor and Monty. What we know is that Monty is, I believe, genuinely hurt by this. Monty is sort of the primary figure that this has been happening to, because Monty is the one that was most loyal to Kyle. He is the one that Kyle really should not have believed was not loyal to him based on this ridiculous idea. And in particular, there's specific information surrounding the final two that Monty had with Amira that goes all the way back to when Alyssa ratted out Old School. She also ratted out Monty's final two with Amira, and Kyle told Monty about it. And Monty, feeling like Kyle's my friend, he's my ally, yeah, I can trust him with this information. He told Kyle, we talked about wouldn't it be great? Strong black woman, strong black man in the final two together. How great would that be? And he feels that now Kyle took that and used it against him in this way that was not fair, because it was never his intention to form any kind of Cookout alliance or anything like that. He's always been loyal to the Pound. And so this is all blowing up. Turner knows. Alyssa knows. Kyle finds out. He goes to the diary room and he's talking about quitting the game because this is terrifying for him. And Michael and Brittany are talking to Turner about I think Kyle should go on the block. He's like, oh my God, well, Taylor's still my target, but maybe I should put up Kyle. Monty talks to Turner and he's basically got Turner on board. Kyle, as of right now, is going on the block next to Taylor. And if he does go on the block, he should be going home at this point. And this house is all tipsy-turvy as the feeds have been down, or had been down, for a couple of hours with Kyle still in the diary room. It wasn't until just, I think, 20 minutes ago that we finally saw Kyle exit the diary room. He has not quit the game. But we are still kind of in flux about where all of this is heading. Chappell, what are we doing?
There's so much.
There is so much.
Yeah, okay, pick a spot. Okay, let's just go with something. All right. I think, because I hate this so much and I love it, and so it's too much. It's too much. Okay, so my issue here is that, all that aside, if this was any other revelation, right? If this happened and it was a game related, strategic, whatever, this would be an incredible move by Michael. I mean, this is fantastic. The way it just upends everything that Kyle has built, and it just tears him down. It puts him on the block. And if he's on the block, you got to take him out. He's got everybody against him. This is like Dan's funeral level of just boom,
Mm-hmm.
But when you put it in context that Michael held on to this. There's a running joke on Twitter that Michael, with the Karen hair, with the short white lady haircut, that he legit held on to this and then was like, I'm about to snitch, and then told everything. And he was like, I'm about to send an email. I am an angry white man, and I am
replying
pissed.
all to this.
Yes.
Right. I am so freaking pissed, and it worked. But Michael, come on. You heard him say this weeks ago, and you thought, yeah, I mean, not targeting me if you're targeting like this new cookout thing. So I'll let it fly. Keep the party going. And now that he's on the way out and that his alliance falling apart, he's like, remember that really racist thing I just watched happen and didn't do anything about? Let me just bring that back up. And now Kyle's like, wait, when did this become racist? I thought we talked about this, Michael. What you talking about? Racist? You didn't tell me it was racist when I said it. I said it to you. His head is spinning. And people always ask, like, what has Kyle done specifically that is racist? Well, Kyle, like I told Christmas years ago, her ghetto ass, you cannot just start targeting your allies because you assume they're working together based on the color of their skin. Like, she legit had Bailey and Davon sitting right in front of her saying, we're loyal to Christmas. And she goes, I think I'm gonna put both of you up. And they had nowhere to go. They're like, why would you do that? Well, yeah, no, that's your untouchable. That's your final two. That's your
Oh,
but
no.
I'm working.
Why did you have to bring that word back?
No, I'm working with you. That is the point here. And just to be like, I know you're not coming after me, but y'all both black too. And I'm just like, that's not how this works. And so for Kyle to do this weeks ago and be like, Joseph ain't black, but he is of color. And what if the Cookout 2.0 was just people of color? What if they called it something else? What if it was like no, we did the camp out on Survivor, but what if we call something else to encapsulate the fact that all these people of color are now coming together? I haven't seen it. I have not seen it happen. But what if it happened? I should start to protect against that specifically. It's like that should have been showed on the show, so we should know that it existed, but it should also have been stomped out. Michael should have said something, or production should have said something, and they just didn't. So now Big Brother is in a position where this huge catastrophic thing has happened to Kyle's game based on something that they hid from us weeks ago, and now they have to explain it in 2 episodes because Kyle might be going home on Thursday, and you can't wait until next week to be like, yeah, and Kyle went home because of that thing that he said a month ago. Like, this is not London, Paris, Greece being cities and Prague. This is something you should have talked about when it happened. So there's just so much that happened in this 24 hours. At any other time, I would love to talk about the strategic elements of it, but right now I'm just like, this is gross. And y'all should have stopped it. Somebody should have said something.
Yeah, so I believe what Michael and Brittany are saying in terms of why they didn't say it earlier is mostly just like, well, at the time we weren't sure what we should say, if we should say anything, what it should be, and then the house split and he wasn't here anymore, and really we didn't want to have to say anything unless we had to. Because we know how serious this is. And now we feel like we are in a situation where we want to make sure that we do say it. And, I don't like, in terms of the conversations I've seen from Monty and from Taylor, which aren't many about this, they don't seem to be upset with Michael and Brittany for not saying anything yet or until now. But that could come later if they have more time to think about it. I'm not sure. I don't know how satisfactory they find the explanation to be. But that they are including, they do know that they knew that they needed to include a reason to explain why they hadn't said anything. Cause I think they knew that yeah, we probably should have said something earlier. We got to explain ourselves here.
Oh my God.
Pregnant pause.
I just feel like, I echo everything that the both of you have just said. I think that we are witnessing in real time how sometimes white people don't necessarily know how to navigate having difficult conversations. Even white people that feel like they are a little bit more socially aware, cognizant of problematic behaviors and lines of thinking. Sometimes it's still hard to confront other people that are engaging in those behaviors. So you hold on to that information, but you still talk about it behind closed doors because you want to make it known to other people that you're not okay with that kind of stuff going on. But ultimately, it does really leave a icky taste in everyone's mouths because you used it for strategy. It for strategy. Let's just call a spade a spade. You used this for strategy. You saw a golden opportunity. Kyle definitely is anti y'all. Michael knows that he was the backdoor target. He was able to win the veto. He's going to pull his girl down. There was no other. Why not try to get him up there? You used it for strategies. So now we have to deal with all of that and have that come as it may. I'm still pleased that it is happening because no matter how this conversation came about, I think it is so important that this gets shown, as y'all just said. It has to be shown that this is the stuff that Big Brother really should be about and focus on. Mm-hmm. I know that we love the strategy and the vetoes and the HOHs and all that is fun too. I love that stuff too. But this is still a house of 16 people that are all different. Of course, someone like Kyle, it's not surprising that he would think stuff like this. It's not surprising. He's been very vocal about how his upbringing has been extremely sheltered. He hasn't gotten out a lot, and being in this house has really showed him there is a lot that he has to learn, and he is learning one of these things in real time on this show. And I don't know why they wouldn't just allow us to have this journey. You are making him look so much worse by all of the stuff that you're doing behind the scenes to hide as many conversations, and then you show the conversations, and then the feeds go down, and then it's just so messy. And I understand that there's an element of production that wants to protect these players because they don't want people coming out of these shows getting all sorts of like horrible things online, death threats, this, that, and the third, that it can cause someone to have a mental breakdown. I understand that there are reasons to want to protect house guests, but at the same time, you have to be honest with your audience about what is going on so that we can actually have informed conversations. If you leave us at an information deficit, that is what's going to cause people to either react in any which way to the extreme. Just show us what's going on so that we can have the conversation like we're having now. Obviously, what Kyle is thinking is so stupid. The entire reason that the cookout came together in the first place was so that stuff like this would stop happening. For you to counter the counter with another counter with a counter that didn't need to exist in the first place. Where is the logic? Where is the logic? It doesn't make any sense. You were just repeating the cycle and proving the point as to why the cookout needed to happen in the first place. And the fact that most of these Black players came into this game this time around with that hanging over their head saying like, well, I'm trying to figure out a way to navigate this because while it would be great to work with other people of color, because I still think there's a mission at hand, I still want to see us do well. At the same time, I don't want to clip my own game because I don't want people to think that I'm doing it for that reason. And also there's a piece of me that feels like the cookout kind of died for all of our sins. So maybe I can come out into this game and do whatever I want to do because the cookout made that statement and I'm glad that they did it. But no, they can't even do that because even when they're sending somebody out like Amira or sending somebody out like Nicole, I know Nicole's not Black, but she's a woman of color. Even when you're sending people out of there, there's still these overwhelming threats and thoughts of people thinking, oh, they're together. And it's just like, you can't win. I feel like the cookout was step one. Now, like, it's like, okay, we got a Black winner. Now step two is, okay, let's teach everybody to stop grouping us together. Like, it's just so, I don't know. I'm trying to operate from a place of empathy because, and I know that I'm going to get some heat for saying this. I understand why Kyle felt the way that he felt. I understand it. I get it. But where you lose me and where you lose a lot of people is then going even further to say, we gotta nip it in the bud. We have to make sure that doesn't happen. And by doing that, you're saying, okay, let's get all the white people together. Kyle, come on. I'm glad that he did not self-evict. I think him coming back into this house, having these conversations and understanding that what he did was wrong is a much better story to tell versus you just running away and letting us drag you through the mud. Like, face the music. That's it. I'm done ranting. Sorry.
No,
Absolutely.
I think that's completely right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you guys like took the words out of my mouth. I was, today it was it was hard to watch it all go down, because I think that Chappell hit on one note, and then Aman, you also hit on the other note, where you were happy that this is happening, but the origin of this is gameplay. It is strategy, and it was extremely frustrating for me to watch that go down today. And I just think that Big Brother has an opportunity on Wednesday. You guys, I better not see any filler content. I better not see any Prague, Paris content. I want to see, like, no joke, I want to see, flashbacks. I want to see diary rooms. I want to see conversations being had, because the thing is you air, Big Brother 22, we aired incredible conversations from Dave Vaughn, from Kaser. But right now, these things are still happening inside of the house. Just like you guys said, it's happening inside of the house. Let's show this. It's an incredible opportunity, because a lot of the people that watch this show, not a lot of the people, I can't speak, but there's some people that watch this show that also need the lesson. Like, let's show this and make it somewhat positive, I guess. I mean, that's not the right way to say it, but I just think that, they have an incredible opportunity, and I don't know. I've just been super emotional today, you guys. I don't know what it is, and I hope I came off, what I'm trying to say. You guys understand?
No, absolutely. And I think it's completely understandable to be emotional. I mean, it's like from all ends, it's been an emotional day. And like it's like I got emotional watching Monty talk to Turner. Because yes. I felt that, and that's where, like, that's where, I want the show to help me out, because I feel like I'm out here trying to explain this every single day, and I'm still getting questions about, like, I don't understand why this is bad, and it's just like, I don't know how else to explain it. I feel like I've just been doing it constantly. Can the show please help me out a bit? Because it would be nice them with all the footage, they can put it together, they can show everyone, and everybody watches the show. No, not everyone watches me, and so like that would be nice. And yeah, I mean, just like, again, it's gonna a lot of people like, oh, is it reasonable to have these thoughts? Like, that's definitely a big question. Like, because I have seen a lot of people like, show us the receipts. Like, what is exactly what happened that he did that was wrong. And obviously, like, I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for myself. But like, I think that having the conversation that Kyle did, the thought process of this might be happening, especially in the context of what happened last season. I think that that's still, for me, something that sets off a red flag. For me, it's indicative of a thought process that could be damaging or hurtful to the people that he's talking about. And then lo and behold, that thought process turned into actions. And those actions actively hurt the people he was talking about. You can see it in Monty's face. You can hear it in his voice. He's hurt by this. It's not something that he's like, oh yeah, that's, it was perfectly reasonable. Like, he's like, what the hell? Like I was loyal to this guy. And he's making these assumptions. He's thinking I'm not going to work with him because of this. Like, that doesn't feel good. And that's what's wrong with the situation. If you have trouble, like, figuring it out, just listen to Monty talk to Turner about it. Listen to him explain.
And it's just like, so go ahead, Chappell.
No, go ahead. Okay. My issue is less, honestly. It's weird, but it's less with Kyle, right? Because, like, from Aman's point of view, and like what he was saying is that this man was completely sheltered. He's ignorant in a lot of ways or whatever. And that thought process came across his mind because he wants to win the game. He watched the cookout or whatever. So logically, I could see where he was thinking. What I do not like is that if he's going to go down this line of thinking, show it, because then at the end of the season, win or lose, that's what got him there. I don't want people thinking that Kyle had some amazing reads on the house and that he flipped this and flipped that because of all this other stuff. He's a strategic mastermind or whatever. I just grouped the minority people together because it was less of them in the house and it worked out for me. That's it. And I don't want that. I would rather you show me him as his true self. Don't go in and stomp out Kyle and be like, Kyle, you're being racist by thinking that. It's like, no, show it. I don't care. Let him do it. If we don't win the game, we don't win the game. But at least show me the type of person or the type of thinking that led you to win the game. Because people are so quick to call black players bad because you get 1 or 2 a season and then they screw up one time and then they go home, or they can't get into the big alliance or whatever. There's so many minority players that have been called bad over the years. And a lot of players just get called decent because they just rolled an alliance as far as they could get. Well, when your alliance looks at you halfway through and just says, but there's 2 of you. I don't like that. There's 4 of y'all. I don't like that. That kind of stuff is what really frustrates me. So let Kyle be Kyle, but also show us that so that we're not all yelling. Taran's not yelling and trying to explain it. Every week we hear, I just need specific examples. Tell me again. Explain it to him like I'm 5, why he's racist. It's like that line of thinking, that same line of thinking that it says all of you people of color are grouped up is the same line of thinking that made all these people so ready to believe that Taylor was going to blow up when she got in the house. Oh my God, Taylor's going to freak out when she's on the block. Why is that? She just has this aggressive energy. Why is that? What is it about her that makes you feel that way? It's the same line of like linear thinking that they're just like, okay, this is what I believe, so it must be true about this group of people, and it's not the case. But if you don't show it, nobody will know. And so that's what frustrates me the most. Kyle is Kyle. He gonna be Kyle. Everybody who plays this game is not going to be completely without biases. People are going to make mistakes, but if you don't show them, people won't learn that. Okay, would you like to win the game and be loved and be hated, or lose the game and be loved? There are steps that you can take to avoid both of those things, and you should show us what that is. So that's how I feel.
Yeah. And I just think people, like, you just have to continuously remind yourself of why things happen in the first place. The cookout didn't just happen in a vacuum. Like, come on, guys. Like, we have to be able to, like, at least have that shared reality that we all understand. The cookout happened because of history in the game. Point blank period. They made the decision to make sure that we could finally get that black winner. So we would not have to ever have to say that again. And much to the detriment of so many of their games, like so many of their stress levels. Like the cookout, they were successful, but they were a mess. Okay, so it's like not all black people are going to be the same. Like it's just not. That's just not a thing. It's just it never has been a thing. Yes, camaraderie happens because of shared experiences, but you're not the same. So it's not as if like every single black person is going to go in there and be like, yeah, I got you. This cast did the exact opposite. Oh my God, Monty and Terrence were talking so much crap about Taylor. It was so toxic. Oh my God. The fact that this has even gone this far on Kyle's end, it's like you're not paying attention. You are letting your bias go in autopilot. You're not paying attention. Get out of the tunnel vision, let go of that, throw that away, and then claim the good spot in the game that you just threw away. It's poetic justice. I mean, it just is what it is. Like,
also, Jasmine and Taylor being grouped together, guys.
Oh
like that was the first. That was the that moment. I was like, okay, wow, this is just straight up your biases. That's what it is. That's all it is. You know damn well those two aren't getting along.
Yeah, and to bring this back to production too, like I think the decision, because it's not just production, but it's also the people that continually try to say like this is not a problem, like he's not doing anything wrong. Like the more you try to hide it, the more you try to cover it up, the bigger a discussion it gets. Like when production taunted us, because they taunted us with Michael, Brittany, and Taylor up in the HOH room. Cameras following Monty as he goes upstairs, walks to the have-not room, and then they just stop following him right as he enters the have-not room and goes in on Turner sleeping in the HOH room. Like they're hiding this conversation, like very blatantly. And surprise, surprise, like it blows up on the internet, on Twitter. It is huge. The hashtag like stop protecting Kyle, it's like #1 trending in the country. It's immediately picked up by like media outlets. Like production is hiding conversations about Kyle, whatever his last name is, being racist on the live feeds, whatever. Like you are making it so much worse because what we're dealing with is, this guy who has done this thing that we can have a conversation about, because it's like, there was lots of conversation about what was happening with Taylor, and rightfully so. But I think most people were able to pretty quickly get on board and go like, yeah, this is very wrong. We don't like this. Here's why it's wrong. Here's what they're doing. And the only reason it was a continued conversation is because it continued happening constantly, because it was very clearly evident to everyone. And we were all able to quickly agree, like, this is a wrong thing that's happening. If we were able to do that with Kyle, I think this would have been a much simpler experience for everybody. And the same thing is true of Michael and Brittany, because I do think they are a little complicit in letting this get as big as it was, because I know that they ended up pushing back a little bit, particularly after they talked about it in the diary room. But if they had really just like sat down and had a conversation with him and been like, look, seriously though, you got to stop this, and explain to him why he should not be doing this. Maybe he doesn't take it well. Maybe he does take it well. But either way, if you're able to put a stop to it right then and there, then it doesn't continue to grow and build in the way that it has. This has been a group effort in terms of allowing it to get to this point. Especially when you look at because I think that's what a lot of people do. They look at the severity of it now, and they look at like what was the original offense, so to speak, and they're like, this doesn't seem anything close to what was happening to Taylor, right? Like, why does it feel like the response is almost bigger? And I think it's because there's this battle happening and this pushback to try and keep a lid on it, which just creates more heat.
I just if you honestly, if from production standpoint, if you honestly don't want this person, if there is some level of protection here for mental health sake, general safety, whatever it is, exactly, you really, because you could tell, like when as soon as Alyssa told Kyle all of that information, his entire body just got so tense, like his breathing became labored, because he just, all of these thoughts in his mind about like what's going on out here, everyone talking about him, everyone calling him racist, like his life flashed before his eyes. He went to the downstairs DR, he went up to the upstairs DR, then back downstairs to the DR. Like, he just wanted to get out. He wanted to get out. You could tell that he was going through it. And if you just let the house guests have the conversation and talk about it, that does so much in taking the temperature down on the conversation. Because while I'm sure I'll get some heat for this, I don't think that Kyle's life needs to get ruined. I don't. I think that he deserves what's happening right now. I think that he needs to be told that what you're doing is wrong. But I feel like there has to be a way for these conversations to be able to happen so that they stop happening, as opposed to just hiding it. And then the next person, the next cis white hetero male that comes on the show is like, well, I see what they did to Kyle last time, and I feel like that was effed up. And then they're in some because now we're talking about like, oh, so you think that Kyle didn't deserve what happened, right? Oh, so you're just as bad as him. And then the cycle continues. Just have the conversation. Let's be adults. Let's be adults, please.
Yeah, and just to sorry to quickly address the chat. Again, like, yes, Brittany did go approach Kyle eventually to tell him this was wrong. What I'm trying to say is that it kind of took too long, in my opinion, to get to that point. And I don't think that it was pushed back enough. And I'm specifically addressing Michael and Brittany because their explanation is kind of like, look, we waited this long because we wanted to be careful about, bringing this conversation up. Like, we know it's a serious one, and we didn't want, like it kind of like implying that it was like for Kyle's sake almost that they really wanted to wait. And that's what I'm pushing back on, because I think that if it was really about like, let's do this to protect Kyle, like let's try, and it's same thing with production. Like, if you're really trying to protect Kyle, I think the best way to do that is to just air it out immediately. Just like, don't let those flames be fueled. Like, just let it out. Have the conversation immediately and quell it. We've seen those sorts of things happen before. Like, it's just a much better situation if you don't just like keep that lid on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just in the world of big.
No.
Oh no.
No. Lovina. No. Oh,
Production's
man,
trying to silence her.
Yeah.
They said
Don't
don't
silence
air that.
Lovina. So I agree with Aman that Kyle does not look like he's acting in malice. And so like I don't think that like everybody's like we hate Kyle. He's like the thing he's saying is ignorant and it's problematic and it is racist, but it's not like he is targeting people out because I hate them because of who they are, whatever the case may be. He is looking at this as a way to protect himself in a game where he's trying to use whatever privileges he has strategically. And you would hope that everybody is using whatever they can do to win the game. But there are lines that need to be drawn. You do not need to let racism and biases like this like sink their way into the game and then not address them, because then when somebody weaponizes them like a Michael or a Brittany, then we're like, oh, what do we do? You know, they knew about it and they didn't say anything. So I still agree that, you know, Kyle should be admonished for his behavior. Like he should definitely be talked crazy to at some point, and somebody should sit him down and say, this is what you did wrong. But attacking him and saying, oh yeah, you are a racist, horrible person, your life needs to be over just because he made a mistake that plenty of people would make. He just did it on camera. See, that's the thing. Exactly. All the people asking what Kyle did wrong, y'all would have made the same mistake. You know, that's the thing. Like because you can't see it. We have to explain it to you. And there are 2 people now of color on this podcast, but when Lovina comes back, there are 3. And we
apparently she lost power. So
right. When my girl comes back. Yeah, when she come back, it's 3 people on this podcast, and we would love to talk about regular ass Big Brother strategy. We would love to talk about a Dan's funeral. And they say, why every time you're on the podcast, you make it about race? Because this is what we got to work with. Look at the show.
Honestly, like I really feel like at this point, like I feel like we don't even have to even say that anymore about how we would love to talk about like strategy or whatever, and because this is Big Brother, y'all. This is Big Brother. This is Big Brother. Right now, we are in a time period where these conversations are and they are affecting the game. Like it is a microcosm of life. We say it all the time. Like the stuff that happens outside is going to affect how the games and the seasons go. We're just in that period right now. So this is a part of the strategy. And literally, they use it as strategy. So we are talking about the strategy. So
yeah, let's be real. If it wasn't race, it would be something else. Like we're just constant complainers. Like that's just the point.
Right. Every season, every season we do the draft and we say, well, the older guy's probably going to get targeted. We're not saying we condone that. We're saying, hello, this could happen because it always happens. It's perpetuated. You know what I'm saying? Like we say, oh, the women's alliance doesn't work. It's like, because it's normally, it doesn't have to be a women's alliance just because 2 women are together. It's like, oh, all these women are working together. You cannot just assume this because people have a similarity in the house. Why don't you actually try to address the way they're playing the game, the way they're acting toward each other? But we talk about this. So it's not just race. There are other biases as well that go into it, make this game infinitely harder for certain people. And then people like Kyle get to say, I mean, it makes sense. They all look the same. And then people like Michael get to say, ooh, Kyle, that doesn't work for my game this week. So that's a problem. It's like, and we don't get that option. We don't have that button. I can't press the like, ooh, what if the cookout forms again? They're like, because you would be in it. Duh. You know, like I don't get that.
Yeah, and I feel like this show is what it has always been. Like I grew up watching this show, and no matter what the issue was, there was always an issue. Every season, there's always an issue. There's always an issue because we're dealing with real people, and real people have real issues. And that's kind of the beauty of the show, is that you get to see these things play out in a way that you never have an opportunity to in real life. Like, especially as like a white person, like how often do you get to see the treatment of like black people, like from start to finish in that way? Like a lot of people, oh, I'm ignorant of that, I wouldn't know. Well, watch it documented 24/7. You get to see it play out in front of your eyes. There's a lot that you can learn from that. There's a lot that you can learn from a lot of these things. And I, like I said, I grew up watching this show. There's so much I've learned from this show in terms of like how people interact and treat each other and all kinds of stuff. Whether it's race or it's relationships or how people tell the truth or they lie to each other, when people feel comfortable with lies or with truth, like defense mechanisms that come up, how people justify doing wrong to others. Like there's so much you can learn from this show. And it's okay to criticize people. Like, cause I've seen a lot of like, now Michael and Brittany are bad too. It's like, No, they just did a thing that is worth criticism. We're worthy of criticism. And that, like, it's okay. It's okay. You could. It's just as Kyle said.
No. Chill, bro.
Like, it's okay. It's okay to say I disagree with how they handled this situation. It doesn't have to be the end of the world for everybody. Like, we are going to point out things that we disagree with, and that's okay.
And I think, and I was listening to you talk about everything on your Twitch channel. I like what you said about how we shouldn't avoid having the conversation just because there are going to be people that are out there that are going to take things too far. There are going to be people that are just never going to see it for Michael and Brittany after this. They're going to call them all types of names. They're going to drag them. They're going to try to get them fired. They're going to do everything in their power to ruin their lives, and that is not okay. But at the same time, it's like, well, they still did something that was kind of icky. So what do? I decide I'm not going to address the icky thing because I don't want them to have horrible lives afterwards, which I'm sure they're probably not going to have horrible lives, but we got to talk about it, y'all. We have to. We can't just blindly look. It just is what it is. I don't know what else to say at this point. I mean,
they'll be all right. They'll be all right.
They will be all right.
They'll be all right. Because the thing that they will have to remember is that, now that you've gone on the show and they've documented your actions or whatever, you cannot go and be on your high horse on Big Brother Twitter no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a thing that you cannot do. And that's okay. These people go on Big Brother and think, oh, I'm going to come back and be embraced by my community. And now all the people are going to either talk to me and love me and all this other stuff. And for a lot of people, that's just not the truth. We will not see Daniel active on Big Brother Twitter without people in his mentions sending all kinds of hateful things, diss tracks and whatnot. That might have been me. But, we don't. Big D doesn't get to comment on somebody's game without at least 12 people saying things about him. That is a byproduct of the show. You go on the show, you show your ass, and then Big Brother comes back. When you do clownery, Aman, the clown comes back to bite you.
And even the fan favorites get it too. Like, the fan favorites can, like, one of the crazy things about the fan favorites is they will come out of the season loved or whatever, and then they'll barely watch the next season, and they'll tweet one thing in support of one of the players that is getting dunked on by Big Brother Twitter, and then it's like, oh no, cancel. So you agree with this? Oh, so you agree with murder? Oh, so you agree with all sorts of this is crazy. Oh, so you're racist, like, it's. Everybody can get it. Everybody can get it and will eventually get it. Okay, so it just is what it is. But all of that is irrelevant and immaterial to the fact that what they did was icky. What Kyle is doing is icky. We're talking about it, and that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But man, this is a crazy week of Big Brother history. I mean, Sarah, as somebody who has documented a lot of this, come on, feeds wise, this is some wild stuff.
It is wild. It is wild. And again, like, all of this on top of the fact that Michael may be on the verge of breaking a record that is held for over 15 years, competition wise. Like, there's a lot happening here. Now, I'm not sure. I don't think Lovina is going to be able to come back. Her power went out. So she is, I guess she's hoping to come back on. But she said to finish her point, she says that we need to stop pretending these conversations can't happen because we fear making someone uncomfortable. Let's make people uncomfortable. That's the point. Yeah.
Snaps to that.
Well said. So yeah, here we are. If you're interested in more of my, I did have like I played Goose Goose Duck today on Twitch, which is a weird way to start that sentence. But after we played that, I did talk at length about all of these things. Just trying to get all of my thoughts consolidated into one place because I get so many questions about things that I have talked about a lot. And obviously we've talked about it a lot here as well. But if you're genuinely curious and you're not just prodding, feel free to check out that Twitch stream if you're interested in my perspective. I'm sure that we've talked about it plenty here already in terms of how Chappell and Aman feel. But if you have any, like, if they want to express themselves, where can we find some of your thoughts here?
Righteous anger. You can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin, talking about all of these things at all times. So yeah, that's me.
And you can find me at Chappell's_show, where I'm tweeting out most of the podcast links. I really don't tweet about Big Brother as often as I should. I do memes and I just get out the way. But yeah, follow me on Twitter and I'll tweet out the other podcast links. I'm on Post Show Recaps talking about The Walking Dead. I'm on Rob has a podcast on the show that I host with Rob Cesternino called Nothing But Netflix. This week we talked about Untold, the Manti Te'o story. And then I think something else is coming up, but for the most part, that's what I got going on. Sasha and I are still talking about Never Have I Ever season 3 on Silent Podcast, so you can go subscribe to Never Have I Ever by Silent Podcast wherever you get your podcasts and check that out too. But yeah, Taran, thank you for having me. It's been fun, and hopefully the season is less toxic after this, but I highly doubt it.
Yes. So now that we've gotten rid of the people who listen who drop out once we start plugging ourselves, the AKA the people that are not the true fans, not the day ones. So we've tricked them into leaving already. Let's just briefly talk about the fact that like Kyle's maybe going home this week. Like Kyle's about to maybe go on the block and go home on Kyle's HOH.
It's I did not. I mean, I really thought that he had a tough path to the end. I never saw him winning this game, but I didn't think it would end like this. So I'm very shocked. We just don't see stuff like this happen a lot of the time on this show. A lot of this stuff is always swept under the rug. And this time, these players weren't going for it. And they used it as strategy to get his ass up. So it really is this is a different type of moment in Big Brother that I don't think we've ever really seen before. And I'm still like absorbing it as we speak. Like it's kind of hard to really sit here and be like, is he actually going home? Like, damn.
It feels so weird. Like it's such an immediate turnaround from, even just this episode. Like this is a coronation episode. Like Kyle's in the diary room, like explaining the ins and outs of Big Brother strategy. And we're sitting here having just watched, like he's on the verge of like leaving the game right now, if not on Thursday. And it's like, what a complete 180. I said this morning they're going to try and Brian Hart him, and they have, like, so far at least, like they went up and they said, Turner, you got to do this, and he was like, I guess I got to do it.
Which Turner, we didn't properly get in his ass too, but he was also like, well, I still want Taylor to go, so
like, yeah, Turner, we see you too, because again, earlier in the season, it's like, I won't stand for the mistreatment of Taylor. How dare you? I need to make an alliance to destroy this other thing. I'm gonna keep the pound, but I need to make another alliance because I have to have Taylor's back. And now it's like, Kyle racist, but she could go. For my game though, and I think that's why the Michael thing is so icky. The Britney thing is so icky. It's
very reminiscent of what happened with Tyler in Christmas on Big Brother 22 when he was trying to leave the game in the name of helping Devon and Bailey, and
for the cause.
It's a little different. It's a little different on Christmas end because like it's not like Christmas was she still put them up, but still like it was very similar. Very similar.
But my frustrating thing about Kyle going home this week, whatever, good riddance. But man, it's weird because you get a capable player like Kyle. Some of the things Kyle has done in the game has been very impressive. Like the fact that he's able to keep Alyssa around and nobody seems to care is just really baffling to me. It's just like, I don't understand why y'all are letting him get away with this. The way he moved last week, where he just completely just washed Joseph, who people were touting as this great player. Kyle just like outmaneuvered him in a backyard where Joseph could see him doing it. And then somehow got Joseph so flustered that he outed the other alliance that Kyle was trying to take down. So, to see such talent go to waste because he don't know how to think outside of his normal line of thinking, how he has these biases that went unchecked for so long and now are being weaponized against him. It's kind of sad. Like, again, he can go. I ain't worried about that. But, every now and then you get a good player. You're like, man, this is impressive. And I will say last week, I was impressed with Kyle because there's no reason why him and Alyssa should have both left that. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we are, right? Turner's now talking about putting Kyle on the block. Now, worth noting, something else that was happening before all this happened, Kyle had already made the moves to ensure that Monty was going to be the replacement and already feeling out the possibility of sending Monty out over Taylor. So theoretically,
and Turner told Monty that, right?
I believe so. Yeah. So, like, this is the thing, because there's still the option of, like, Kyle still has the chance theoretically to call a house meeting, do whatever he's going to do, have the conversations, maybe, clear his name to some degree, because, as things happen in the house, like through the game of telephone, like certain words and phrases are being said that were not directly from Kyle. And so, like, Kyle's hearing that, like, he said he wanted to create an anti-black alliance, and like stuff like that. And it's like, these were things that, kind of like Michael said, from what I was able to hear, Michael said that he wanted to create an all-white alliance, but that he'd never said those specific words. But then, you hear all-white alliance, you say, well, apparently Kyle was creating an all-white alliance. And that person thinks, oh, Kyle said he wanted to create an all-white alliance. And now Kyle's hearing that he said he wanted to create an all-white alliance. And he's like, I never said that. And so we'll see where all of that goes in terms of clearing everything up. But theoretically, Kyle has a chance to turn Turner back around. The problem is that you're still stuck with the only person you can put on the block that doesn't end up in, one of your people, aka Alyssa or Terrence, leaving, is Monty. And Turner now has made kind of like a final two with Monty, based on their conversation about Kyle. And now
the optics of putting Monty and Taylor up on the block exist now, where they wouldn't really have had to worry about that had Kyle not said this crap in the first place. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Give me the mess. I want the mess. I want it. I want the mess. I know it's horrible for the people in the house. I know it's going to be horrible to watch. But imagine a world where he has to go back on that and be like, Monty, I know I said all the things that Kyle said was deplorable and horrible and all this other stuff, and I would never work with him.
But I'm going to need to push your black ass up on the block.
I need to win this. I need that money. Think
of all the rugs.
Oh my God. It would be so boom, blow it up. Like I said, for me, horrible for people in the house. It would be disgusting to watch. I would be dragging them, but oh God, it would be fun. It would be so much fun. Yeah. And let me say something else. If Monty doesn't end up on the block, and he does not vote to evict Kyle, I'm looking at him crazy. Like, I don't know. Like,
there's
Monty, and you've been on thin ice all season, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that means he's voting out Taylor. Oh boy, no.
Yeah, that's like, because he is so loyal to Kyle. Every time something Kyle goes wrong, there's a person in the diary room going, "But I just need Kyle and I to be on the same page." If somehow Kyle manages to get back in Monty's good graces, the pound wins Monty back over or whatever. After all of this, oh no, y'all gonna have you're gonna have to block me, baby. You're gonna have to I bully it. I'm sorry, I got to. Somebody got to do it. It'll be me. It'll be me.
It's one thing if they're able to have a conversation, which is exactly what we've been saying that we want to have happen, right? Like, it's one thing if you're able to have the conversation and, Kyle is able to, sort of like set a few things straight and get his side of the story out and come to an understanding of what was said and, apologize for it and all of that. It's one thing if that happens, fine. But Monty,
I mean, there's no world where it even makes sense for his game. So, like, come on.
But you think every time these people aren't going to run back to Kyle, and every time they do
it every time, and it's like he was literally trying to get you up on the block, and probably would have voted you out over Taylor, as well as like all the stuff that he was saying about this Black Alliance thing. So it's like, Monty,
man, Monty's really hurt us this season, hasn't he? The fact that we're even talking about this.
he picked the wrong picked the wrong side of the house. So whatever.
Man. So I think my favorite part of this podcast is that Aman changed his name while we were joking around about the pool sex floaties.
Pool sex floaty, baby.
And so it's been that way through the entire serious discussion later in the podcast. And I really want like a clip of Aman like giving some great points to start going viral.
With the pool sex floating
I should
underneath.
really change this now before I forget, and then I end up having to use this for work, and then they are like, excuse me?
With the $ for the S. Okay, I see you. Shout out to Kesha. Key $ high. So yeah, this has been wild. I really wish it didn't have to happen like this, but man, I had a good time talking about it. I mean, it's so disgusting to watch, but it makes good feeds, good feeds and good podcasting. So it's been great.
Yes. All right. Thank you guys so much. I think this has been a good discussion. Hopefully, hopefully enlightening in terms of people that still have some questions. Hopefully, this is informative in terms of like what's happening and why. Yeah, I think that's about what we've got for you. Thank you to the people that stuck around. Look at all this extra bonus content you got just for listening to us plug our things. Is it really that much to ask? I see the number every day I do these podcasts, and the second I go, and hey, I put all this work into this other thing, Twitch, do twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. I see those numbers drop by like 500. I see all of you. Don't think I don't. I see you turning your back on me. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm not gonna complain about it, but I see it.
Yeah.
See it happen.
And follow Lovina on Twitter at
yes.
LPavs, PAVSS on Twitter, LPavs. Because Lovina didn't get to plug herself, so I'm gonna make sure everybody know Lovina's a good Twitter follow. She gonna light you up though. She gonna talk crazy to you. You better not come on there talking mess about hockey because Lovina got time.
All right. So yes, follow Lovina. Subscribe to this channel. Rob is a podcast. We're really closing in here on 100,000. We're just over 1,000 followers or subscribers away from 100,000 on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel. So hey, you could be one of those final people pushing us over the edge here. Just click the little button. You can also find me on Twitter at Armstrong Taran, tweeting out everything I'm doing. Of course, House of the Dragon aired tonight. I still gotta watch it. Oh boy,
Same.
it's late. But I'll be talking with Josh and Rich on post-show recaps tomorrow for the Book Club podcast, talking about House of the Dragon episode 2. So make sure you check that out as well. And then, of course, live feed update tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. And roundtable on Tuesday, and so on and so forth. The slop will be tomorrow. We got some good stuff heading your way. Anything else from the two of you that you didn't get a chance to plug earlier?
Nope.
That's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today, and we will see all of you next time.